some examples of things that appears that both parties agree on?
No. When you say environment, I've got to share with you that this is something you may not be aware of. Most people aren't, that the Senate is different than the House. In the Senate, you specialize. Each senator is on 2 standing committees. And those committees is where that senator has influence, that senator has knowledge, and my 2 are the armed services. As you know, since 1996 when I got there, I've been on the armed services, and that's why it has nothing to do with my skills, my knowledge, and all that, strictly seniority. That's why I am the ranking member. The other committee, though, since you said the word environment, this gives me an excuse to talk about it. The other committee is the Environment and Public Works Committee. And I call this poetic justice. I would deviate a little bit here. In the real world, and it's something that a lot of people don't realize, I spent 25 years in the real world. I was a builder and developer. I did a lot of things in South Texas. I found that there I was making fortunes, losing fortunes. I was doing the things that Americans are supposed to be doing, expanding the tax base, doing all those good things. And yet the chief obstacle I had all those years was the federal government, primarily the EPA, with all of the over-regulation that they're doing right now. Now, the poetic justice is, I ended up, when we were a majority, chairing the committee called Environment and Public Works, which has jurisdiction over the EPA, the very bureaucracy that tried to put me out of business for 20 years. So that's poetic justice. Now, so that my other interests, I have 2 other interests along with, I'll cover this very briefly, but I know you'd be interested in this, on things that are happening. 3 of the worst things that are happening under this administration, ones we've talked about and will continue to talk about the military. Number 2 is we could be totally independent from any country in our ability to generate electricity. But this president has a war on fossil fuels. He doesn't even deny it. Everybody knows that. And so here we have all of this great opportunity now with hydraulic fracturing, with horizontal drilling, with the tight formations. It's no longer just western United States that has all the resources of oil, gas, and coal, fossil fuels. It's also the East, Pennsylvania, New York. They have the Marcellus chain right now, where those guys. We are in a position in our country where we can overnight, in a matter of a few short weeks, in fact 10 weeks we could do it, we could be independent. But the problem is, while we've had this huge growth of 40% in all of the drilling around this country by private people or by states, the federal government, and under Obama, he won't allow that to take place. We've actually had a 7% reduction, or we've had a 40% increase. So that's the other area that, to try to overcome this thing. This is a national security issue for us to not be dependent upon the Middle East for our ability to fight a war. And the third thing that I concentrate on is in that second committee, having to do with the over-regulation. There are a few people in here, if I were talking to a chamber group, anyone who has a company, or the ag people, the farmers, if you talk to the Oklahoma Farm Bureau, they'll tell you the biggest problem they have is the over-regulation by the EPA. Much more important than anything in the Farm Bill. So my excuse for saying that was you said the word environment. And by the way, I can remember, from a partisan perspective, I can remember people always saying, well, the NRA and the gun people and all, they support Republicans. Yeah, they do. But the financial backbone of the Democratic Party has always been, historically, the labor unions and the trial lawyers. That all changed 12 years ago, and it became the far-left environmentalists. I'm talking about MoveOn.org, George Soros, Michael Moore, the Hollywood elites. They're the ones who put millions of dollars in campaigns. And so we are right now, that is the problem that we're having, because that is the reason for the war on fossil fuels. I do that in for nothing.
Well, I want to ask a very